What's up? Today I'm gonna run from the Beatles song Penny Lane and the iconic Bassline by Paul McCartney. Something like this. Dun 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 dun. And I found a good video that explain about the song and song code, progression, and the bass line. It has a B major key and B minor, and on chorus went to A major key, so B major, B minor, and A. And chorus.
I got the horns on the keys. He's got such a beast band.
I really love his solo band. They play so great.
Man, to play and sing this is so freaking hard. Sounds great.
The synth
I've seen Paul a couple
nice.
times, and man, so good. All right, let's break this down. Clearly, you could tell from the crowd, everyone knows every word. You got kids to parents to grandparents. Paul has really, his footprint has just touched every single generation. Such a good band live. I've seen him a couple times. It's been years. I know he's in his 80s now, but pretty sure I saw him back in this tour like 20 years ago. Always such a good performance. All right, let's talk about the music theory and the chords behind this bass line. What's happening underneath Penny Lane? Firstly, as always, Paul played with a pick, and even though he was playing his Rickenbacker during this Penny Lane period, you can see live he's obviously playing his old Hofner violin bass, and I heard that he tracked on that bass back in the day for Penny Lane. It's got a very classic thumpy tone. As for the harmony, it starts in B major, and it's actually just running down the B major scale. You can very much hear the key established, and starting a bass line this high up on the neck isn't common, and it really makes it fun to play. This song spans the entire fretboard. While he's playing quarter notes in the beginning, this song actually has a swing feel to it. We're in 4/4, and this tune clearly showcases some very clever key change.
It has a syncopation like ta 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 ta, like not like ta 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 ta, like ta 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 ta. Something like that.
It's a diatonic progression, all in B major, until the tonality completely shifts to a B minor sound. This is sudden when you shift from the same tonic and then shift to a minor key, B major to B minor. So when we arrive at this minor key, Paul's then playing a descending chromatic line. So these chords in stepwise fashion then arrive at the 5 chord, which is F sharp. And this allows us to come back to B major. Really cool modulation. The theory's cool, the chords are awesome, but it's time to talk about what Paul is actually doing. So for me, I cannot stress this enough. Like all of Paul's bass lines, what separates him.
Later I can play on bass. On there. But for now, I watch the
And
several
it's the
videos.
attention to note length, the little things. I can't wait to show you this. Some of the notes are staccato, meaning very short and sudden, and some are very smooth. Short notes and long notes, but it just contributes to making this very major scale happy descending bass line that much better. Paul adds bounce, thunder. Why does it always thunder when I'm doing YouTube videos? Paul adds bounce and syncopation in just the right places. Hey, if you're digging this breakdown, could you please give it a like? It really means a lot to me, and it's a free way to encourage me to keep doing these breakdowns, to keep creating content like this for you, and I really appreciate you. Check out this isolated track where you can hear Paul's bass mix up that staccato and smooth note feel. See how it started off staccato and then he switched to smoother notes? It's like we start off nice, bouncy, and happy, and then he goes to these smoother, longer connected notes that bring us to this minor key. Dissecting, putting this under a microscope, people would never realize that unless you're looking out for it, but I'm telling you, it's great, right? Throughout this verse, Paul often walks stepwise and chromatically between chord tones rather than jumping straight to root notes. Here's something that a normal bass player could have done. And here's what he actually does again. And there's so much character that Paul adds to these things. I want to show you another part of the isolated track. If you see here, he does these little slides, these little woos, and he's just awesome. I love it. You can hear the flat wound strings and the violin bass. Yeah, definitely the violin bass there, but a lot of the little things go under the radar, and that's what I'm here for. Before it makes its way to the chorus, it introduces this E major chord, and it brings us to a new key change, A major. All right, this chorus can demonstrate the true power a bass player possesses. Our key change is in A major, and it's really just doing a simple 1 to 4 progression, which would be A to D. You can hear these chords going back and forth, but what Paul decides to do is to play the major third of A, which is C sharp in the second measure of the chorus, and this makes the chord an inversion. I put the chords up here. What this means is while the rest of the band is playing this A major chord, by the bass playing C sharp, it completely changes what the chord actually is. That's the power a bassist has. Paul knows no boundaries, and it works perfectly. Within the chorus, Paul's doing a lot of roots and fifths, outlining with certain chord tones by hitting the major thirds, and he definitely loves this scalar type of approach notes, meaning he's using the keyword A major and he's using the notes from there to move from chord to chord. Nothing is crazy advanced, but when I talk about the little things, that's what separates Paul. Again, let me show you what a normal bassist might have done. Over that D major chord, he throws in a power chord, which really beefs up the line. A few repeats of musically playing between these A and D major chords, and then at the end of the chorus, they throw in an F sharp major chord, which pulls us back to B major. The vocal melody to the chorus is simple, light, and catchy. often staying in a narrow range, meaning they're not doing anything too advanced melodically, and it's using a lot of flavor in this major key, but the bass is providing a counter melody beneath it. It's active enough where they really coincide, but don't get in the way of each other. Let's keep going. And what a legend Paul is. If you're a bassist and you want to learn how to create bass lines like Paul McCartney, then you need Bass Freedom. I'm running a ridiculously massive fall sale right now. You can get all 400 when you're watching this video, but it ends soon as of now, so take advantage. So in that last chorus, there's a modulation to B major. So normally the chorus was in A major, we go from B to A, and then we're actually in B major for the final chorus. So that's pretty cool. We kind of like finally get there where it started, it ends, and he's playing some really active bass lines here. Honestly, I could talk about Paul McCartney's bass playing all day. He's one of my favorite bassists. I can't believe I've gotten comments of people saying that they don't think he's good, or, you know, the pick haters out there. When you, as I said before, put it under a microscope and look at what he's actually doing, and while singing, my God, it's just true mastery. You can learn so much from studying Paul's bass lines. Paul is the freaking GOAT. Thank you so much for watching this.
Alright, great. The Beatles tells a lot about the key change, B major, B minor, and A, and B major chorus at the end. Also moving bass and syncopation, right? And sustained note and big word on some part. Really nice.